We're here with Sean McDonald, who is involved with Hatch this year as, were you the curator? Is that your title? How would
Uh, Not exactly. I think what they call it is the discipline head. The first stage of involvement is really just the sort of meetings and planning with the Hatch board.
hmm
Uh, in my case, the board member I sort of worked most closely with was Allison Watson,
hmm
and she had some ideas about who to bring in for design and technology. I had some ideas, and Yarrow Craner, the founder of Hatch, and someone on the Hatch Bozeman board had some ideas. So there was a discussion about who should be involved, and then invitations, of course, going out and some logistics there. But then the biggest thing is really kind of owning that discipline during the event. And in D&T we had what I would break into three separate components of how the mentors really interacted with each other and with the community. And so I managed all of those as well.
So what do you do outside of Hatch? What's your MO out in California?
Sort of in my whole life, there's really basically only four things I can do other than eating and sleeping. I have a startup company I started a few years ago uh, called Jute Networks
Okay.
that does a very specific type of data visualization that I would call sociography.
Uh-huh.
And that's sort of the intersection of cartography and sociology.
Okay.
So it's drawing maps of human relationships. And the simple version of why that's important is if you look at anything with a large amount of data, it's much easier to make sense of it when you visualize it.
Right.
Just like if you were to have to read the weather forecast, and try to read where the clouds were, or if you had to try to read your way around New York City, it'd be very confusing to just take all the data in a text format. So we visualize it. We show weather radar maps, and we have maps in New York City that show it's 4 blocks up to the best hot dog stand or whatever. And what I do is to create maps of relationship networks. So that's the vast majority of what I spend my time doing. Um, and I'm the co-chair of the board of the Bob Moog Foundation,
Okay.
which uses music to teach science.
Right.
And so we're developing curriculum, developing technology, doing all the things that we have to do to use music to teach science, and sort of hope that someday we'll be inspiring that next Bob Moog, or that next generation of Bob Moogs out there.
Yeah.
We're, of course, also working on the museum project in Asheville. Put a little plug in, and anybody who happens to hear this, you can go to the Orange Peel and see what we call our mini Museum, which has one of Bob's Grammy Awards and some other interesting stuff from the history of Bob Moog. It's right there in the entryway to the Orange Peel. And then I volunteer with Hatch, and I go mountain biking.
That's a
That's
that's a full
that's
plate.
pretty much my deal. But yeah, that's what I do.